Whenever I see someone driving in a movie and the shot is from the side, I'm just waiting for the inevitable crash, and I'm never disappointed. Hi, I'm Ryan, your host of The Toast, and we're going to talk about 10 Cloverfield Lane. Now, the original Cloverfield was this really unique element. It was a very much anticipated movie, and it had all this viral marketing and little hints at things in other shows, and there was so much more to it. The build-up just rolled and rolled and rolled like a giant snowball, and then when the snowball finally hit, it wasn't really a good payoff. It was a decent monster movie, but found footage on the big screen for that long? That being said, it was a nice movie within a movie. You get to just see the one little plight of a bunch of characters running around while this much bigger deal is going on, and that's what happens in this one. So it's a natural successor in that regard. Now, I'm not going to spoil anything for you, which is kind of hard to do and really easy to do at the same time, but we're going to do this anyway. So 10 Cloverfield Lane stars Mary Elizabeth Winstead as a girl whose car is totaled and she wakes up in the bunker protected yet kidnapped by John Goodman. Now, at first you think, wow, there's no one more lovable than John Goodman to wake up to as my protector / creepy captor. So John Goodman's character basically tells her the world has ended outside the bunker, and now it's up to her to find out if it actually has ended, if he's lying to her, if he's telling the truth, if it's dangerous outside, is he some creep just keeping her chained up in a bunker? And that is where the initial mystery lies, but then it gets deeper. Pretty simple premise, but can promise a one hell of an outcome if done right. Now, for the first little while, this movie is really light in dialogue, and I respect that. You can convey just as much story by showing and not telling. In some cases, you can do more so in less time. Now, Mary Elizabeth Winstead does a great job of being a proactive captive. Seriously, she wastes no time trying to escape. It's kind of badass. You got John Gallagher who's there, but I think just to add legitimacy to the crazy claims of John Goodman's character, because if you didn't have him there, it would be totally Mary Elizabeth Winstead just believing everything he said or disbelieving everything he said. You really need that other character to add some credence. Otherwise, you're just left with two characters who don't trust each other and no space in between. But of course, John Goodman steals the show as the kind of captor / savior that you can never quite figure out. Half of the fun of this movie is just watching John Goodman's character Howard just getting wound and wound tighter and tighter until he snaps, or he doesn't snap, and then he snaps when you don't expect him to snap. He's a big, intimidating guy, and his mouth breathing, his breathing alone is intimidating. There are genuine moments in this film where you do kind of feel for John Goodman because he might just be a little off and these people don't understand him and he is trying to help, but those are quickly dashed. I love the way this movie does present all the little creepy bits of evidence about John Goodman's character in a way that it doesn't actually pay it off, but it lets you come up with your own decision. But really, why else would he have all this stuff in the bunker in the first place? Without saying too much about it, the movie just keeps adding twists and turns for the whole thing right up until the very end. Now, the bunker itself is a very small, very close space, so the story in there is very intimate compared to what must be going on outside. And it's a great shift of focus for a large-scale movie. In terms of storytelling, this movie really does keep it simple and keep it on track. I mean, how can you not when you're stuck in a bunker with these characters? And you just get the overlying tension that, even when things are all hunky-dory and they're getting along, it can just snap and change at any moment, be it whether tension inside the bunker or whatever's going on outside. Really, this movie could just be about them in the bunker, and it doesn't need an outside story. It does have one, though. It really does keep you waiting, because you want to see what's out there. You see this lovely blue sky, and you think, it's nothing out there, but is there? I'm not sure until you get out there. I really did love the mystery inside the bunker. I can't overstate that enough. There's just the little details that they discover in the bunker that lead you to conclusions which aren't necessarily true, but they might be true. That will they get resolved? Will they just escape and forget about it? Will they not escape? It really does keep you invested in the film, and I really don't want to spoil anything about this movie. I'm not saying it has huge spoilers, nothing that you don't expect with the Cloverfield name, but it would be a jerk move if I did. Now, as I understand it, the script for this movie was bought and adapted to fit the Cloverfield label, and that's exactly what I think it is, a label. It's a stamp that I put on these movies, just like The Twilight Zone or Outer Limits, where it just lets you know what you're getting in for, but doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be the same thing over and over again. It might be something different, but in the same genre. Cloverfield, about a giant slushy drinking monster. Cloverfield, about big alien invasion. Cloverfield, about my socks behind the radiator that gains sentient life. Frankly, if you didn't know this movie was called Cloverfield, you'd get just as good a suspenseful, well-acted story than you would if you knew it was Cloverfield. That being said, this movie feels like an episode of something, like it could be told in an hour or less. I'm not complaining about the length. I watched the whole thing and never once looked at my watch, and I'm giving that up to John Goodman's performance. Budget-wise, I can see why this movie got made. You got one location, 3 actors, and an IMAX release. All in all, I'd like to say this movie is a nice piece of garlic toast. Num 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 num. The flavour on the surface is really seeped down into the loaf, making the whole thing enjoyable. Now, if you're looking for a horror movie, this is not it. This is a suspenseful movie with some shocking moments and some strong turns. And if you want to turn at another video, click away, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers! I'm happy to sit through trailers before the movie, but the ads before the trailers, all I saw was a car commercial, a Coke commercial, a car commercial, a car commercial, and another car commercial. And even the Coke commercial had a car in it. I'm card out. Has this ever worked, trying to sell people on cars in a movie?